Peggy from Slave Lake Wesleyan Church.
And I'm Pastor Diane from Norfolk Wesleyan Church. Welcome to Find Out Friday.
Oh, I'm in the kitchen. I'm in the kitchen.
She's in the kitchen. I just wanted to take a step back for a moment. And yesterday we made pictures, and they're 3D, as you can see, because we use puffy paint. And this is after sitting for all night, so it's about 24 hours. And there's still spots where it's a little bit soft. So don't forget to let this dry for a couple hours or a couple days.
So much fun. Well, today we are back in the kitchen again, as you can see, our famous Find Out Fridays. This is my kitchen. Isn't it beautiful? I love it. Lots of stuff happens in here, so it's always fun. So we're back in the kitchen today, and we have a special guest that is going to teach us how to make something that is fantastic. But special guest, could you introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about where you're from?
Okay, I'm Vince Robertson. I'm a pastor on Cape Sable Island. Not Sable Island, the place with the ponies, but Cape Sable Island, a beautiful little island. And it's the southernmost inhabited point in eastern Canada.
Wow.
We're about parallel with Windsor, Ontario. We have heavier winds than almost anywhere in the world. The wind blows every day, even when it's supposed to be a nice, quiet, sunny day. And we rarely have temperatures above 20 degrees in the summer. But the flip side is the coldest night since we've been here, we had one night where it was minus 13 with a wind chill factor of minus 100. Yesterday in New Brunswick, as a comparison, in New Brunswick, where I'm originally from, in Norton, they had 4 inches of snow. And here on Cape Sable Island, the coldest it got was 6 degrees overnight. So this is a land of other extremes as well. The wind, when it's blowing 50 here, we think that it's kind of a day when they decide whether or not to go out fishing. 50 knots is about 70 miles an hour. And guys and gals go out and risk their lives to catch the lobster that people love around the world. So the good thing is I have lobster fishermen in my church, and they like to give gifts. So we enjoy lobster quite frequently. And Diane, I pray for you every time I have a Sussex ginger ale. We can get that here. And another thing that I can still get here, I moved from St. John, New Brunswick, where there's several places you can get a good, authentic Donair. And my love for Donairs started when I worked late nights, and my lunch hour was 10:30 or 11 o'clock at night. And the only restaurant open nearby was a little restaurant owned by a guy from Lebanon who made the best Donairs I've had to date. Well, second to mine, maybe. And and he basically taught me the skills because he made me wait for most of my lunch hour. If he was making a batch of Donair meat for the next day, I had to wait for him to knead the Donair meat so that he could then wash his hands and make a Donair for me. Here in Clark's Harbor, there's one little grocery store called a Red and White, kind of like the Dominion stores that used to be across Canada. And Sam, who owns the Red and White in Clark's Harbor, is from Lebanon. Go figure. God has ways of providing us little blessings wherever we go. We're going to make Donair meat, and the best Donair meat, really, you start with medium ground beef, which has extra fat. There's spices in it. So if you do wear gloves, I would recommend like the real thin plastic ones, because it's actually the heat of your hands that helps break down. There is a cooking term for that, but it helps the fat from the hamburger break down and kind of go into a state where the spices mix through it better.
Okay.
So that when it cooks, the spices go through the meat and the fat and everything. And so what we'll do, I've already sterilized my cupboards and everything, cleaned them up, and I've washed my hands. Took extra time. So then you just grab the hamburger like this, basically. So you put the meat down in the bowl, basically, and it's about a pound of meat. And then the mixture of spices, you just simply put them on top. And the spices go into it, but the reason that you have a bit of flour with that is to help it bind together, but also to help break the fat down as you're kneading it. And then you simply pretend you're playing mud pies when you're 5 years old and start mixing and kneading the dough together like this. Just squeezing it through your fingers.
This is the fun part.
Yeah, it's the fun part. It's like making mud pies.
Mine's getting really sticky. Is that how it's supposed to be?
It starts to get sticky, and if there's white spots in it, they'll start to disappear.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, so if you make it as long as your pan, like if you have the 2 pounds, make sure that it stretches the length of your pan, because you'll be slicing, when it's cooked, you'll be slicing the slices of donair meat to go into pita bread, and you want them long and thin. And so you make it like a loaf and as consistent as possible, and just thick enough so that when you take a slice off of it, it'll look like a slice of donair meat. My love for donair meat would rival Andrew Maeve's love of bacon. He loves everything bacon. And I'm sure if he ate donairs, he would probably put bacon on them. But I prefer tomatoes, and if you would like more spice, I'll put a plug in here for New York, because in New York State, there's a special spice called Slap Ya Mama.
Slap Your Mama.
Yeah, it's got cayenne and something else I haven't. You've never had it?
It might be Western New York, because we're in the Rochester area, right?
Yeah, we found it in Rochester, but we found it in Bangor as well. So I've never found it in Canada. But Slap Ya Mama sauce, spices, it's like a Cajun. It's high content cayenne and chili peppers, and it's made in Louisiana. It's authentic. It's hot enough you'd slap your mama.
That would be
simple. Like.
That's what you have.
Creole seasoning. Yeah, if it's hotter than just cayenne, if it is, you can add a little bit of. You can replace the cayenne with that. Whatever you like as far as heat. If you like garlic flavor, you can add a little bit more garlic. If you're an Italian lover, you can add extra Italian seasoning and oregano. And so play with the recipe, make it your own, and you'll have donair meat that you'll say is better than anyone else's.
So, question for you, Vince. When we bake this, we're going to put it in the oven for 350 degrees for how long?
For an hour.
For an hour. And then when we take it out, because I know you're the expert, what do you have to do with it then?
Let it cool for a while, and then if you're like me, you probably won't care about how well it slices. You'll eat the first one hot. But then if you really want to do it properly, they say let it cool, then put it in the fridge for a few hours until it's fully, until it's solid, and then it's easier to cut. So if you cut it cold, and then of course to reheat it, you can heat the bread like just on a flat skillet, and just heat it enough to brown it a little bit, and then it would be like the super donair going through the oven.
So now you said let it cool. When you bring it out of the oven, do you let it cool in the dish, or do you take it out and put it on something? I
usually leave it right in the dish until it's cold.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, cool it in the dish, because it's quite spongy, like a baked hamburger, if you thought of that. Like it would, if you try to cut it, it'll crumble somewhat. But if you let it cool and then put it in the fridge, it becomes quite hard, and so you'll need a real sharp knife to slice it real thin.
Okay.
And that's why they use a sharp knife and shave it. Donair shop.
Like Greco used to do.
Yeah.
So when it comes out, there's going to be fat in the dish. Do we drain the fat off before we let it cool?
Yeah, that would probably be good. Just take like a fork to hold it in the pan and and drain it into I drain it into a cup and let it cool, and then you can dispose of it.
What do you do with the meat once you slice it?
Okay, I'll
Your hands are covered in.
So the quickest way to make Donair sauce is,
You know what? That's really great when you live in the Maritimes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And Chris Brothers, who also make pepperoni in bulk, have started making Donair sauce and Donair meat. You can even buy like the packages. So I would say in time to come, stores will probably be starting to carry it. The first time people start asking their store manager to bring it in, they'll find out that Chris Brothers in Halifax would ship it anywhere to make a buck. And so there's a little plug for Eastern Canada. One of you mentioned that you were going to make pizza dough, which you can do. You have to make it very thin, and don't bake it too long so that it will fold. You want it to make sure that it's still soft when it's cooked. So you might have to keep a close eye on it and play with that if you're making your own. But I went out, and because it's Eastern Canada, we just bought Greek pita.
Yeah. One of the things that I actually like to put my Donair in is naan bread.
Naan bread would work.
A little softer.
Something I haven't tried, but I intend to. I thought I would try sometime, and especially if I can't get pita bread, I may try wraps. I don't know if it will hold together as well. You'd have to fold it carefully because if you like lots of sauce, it becomes, the bread would tear. But you can always do the naan bread and pizza dough and make a super Donair.
I love super Donairs from Pizza Delight.
Yeah, super Donairs. They would include things like tomato and lettuce and pepperoni. And what else is on them? Do you remember?
Cheese, onions.
Onions, cheese, yeah. So it's like a taco, baked tacos on top of Donair meat.
A Lebanese taco?
Yeah, I help make the Donair meat, but I'm gonna wimp out here, and I have Donair sauce in a package. And so Diane and Peggy are gonna help you make the Donair sauce, and I'm gonna watch.
So start out with 3/4 of a cup of canned milk or evaporated milk, depending on how you refer to it.
What are you using? You're whipping?
I'm using my whisk.
That's what I'll use too then. My daughter bought a new KitchenAid, so it's for her, but I'm claiming it was my Mother's Day gift.
1/3 of a cup of sugar. 1/2 teaspoon of garlic salt. And then you whip.
Now, I don't have garlic salt.
Garlic powder will work.
Yeah. Do I need to add some salt then?
Garlic powder and a little bit of salt mixed together.
How much garlic powder?
1/2 teaspoon.
1/2 teaspoon. Our great cooking show. So we put this in and keep whipping for how long?
It doesn't say, but until it's thick.
Yeah,
Okay.
It starts thickening up. It only takes 20 or 30 seconds, maybe. Maybe a minute. Not very long.
Oh, wow. Like that only takes like a second.
Yeah.
It's done.
Yeah, just mix it in good so the vinegar's all through it, and voila, you've got Donair sauce.
Wow.
Mr. Donair, Chris's brothers, they
Oh.
make people think that it's very hard to make so that they can sell lots of these.
Oh, and the best use for Donair sauce is dipping garlic fingers in.
Absolutely. So now you can make some every time you have garlic fingers. You can make
Yeah.
it for
I'm gonna try it.
pizza in it sometimes. But if I really want.
Oh my goodness. I remember making this before and going, this is so easy.
Yeah.
Why haven't
And
I made it since?
That's the wonderful thing about your choice to make Donairs is that if people haven't had them, they will love them. And if they already love them and they find out it's this easy to make, well, all of a sudden you have the East Coast in Slave Lake, Alberta.
And Norfolk, New York.
And Norfolk, New York.
Does anybody know, like, were Donairs first made in?
Eastern Canada.
Actually, I have seen a video of how it came about. I think it was put out by the show This Hour Has 22 Minutes.
Okay.
If I can find that, I'll put the link down in the comments.
Wonderful. Rick Mercer.
Yeah, I don't think he was in that particular sketch, but
Okay.
yeah, it's pretty funny.
Well, this has been a lot of fun. I am just waiting for my donair meat to finish in the oven, and maybe I'll take a picture of it and share it in the comments below. So from Slave Lake, Alberta, I am Pastor Peggy Yetman.
And from Cape Sable Island, I'm Pastor Vince Robertson. Nice day, isn't it?
And from Norfolk, New York, I'm Pastor Diane. We will see you on Tuesday for Trivia Tuesday, whatever happens there. Until then, be safe.
Be healthy.
And most of all, be the church.
Bye, everyone.